Breaking news into this wet weekend in Austria. The FIA announces it has given 3 penalty points to Esteban Ocon for his erratic manoeuvres in Silverstone, which led to the destruction of Liam Lawson's Andretti car. We're ready for practice to kick off, so let's go head down in the Red Bull garage and kick the weekend off.
Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F1 23 driver career mode, fresh off of the first race of the season at Silverstone, where we were successful in our season opener to pick up not only our first podium in the first race of the year in our F1 career, but as well the victory there in Silverstone to take an early lead in the championship. And that takes us now into round 2 after an epic battle against Mercedes. It was basically the battle of the energy drinks, Red Bull v Mercedes. The question is, will that carry over into episode 2 in Austria? Mercedes not going to be happy about having both their drivers lose in their home Grand Prix. They want to bring the fight back to us and beat Red Bull in their home Grand Prix here today. So we are in for a spicy one, and coming off of practice, I was pretty happy with the car. We got a lot of practice in the wet conditions here. Actually, Tsunoda for BMW and Lewis Hamilton did not make any laps in free practice one, but an exciting Grand Prix weekend on the way. Austria is a track that I've had my struggles at in the past. It's never been a great circuit for me. I just kind of seem to struggle on pace. I don't know, maybe if I just need to try and rework the setup I'm running at this track, but nonetheless, I mean, I'm up for the challenge anyways. I'm feeling very confident in this season. Of course, after winning the season opener, feeling even more confident than I was going into the season. Now we roll through into Q1, actually having to make 2 laps because I invalidated my first lap. So we come through to cross the line though, and it was okay. It was enough. P12, not enough to beat the Connor Sport duo, but it's enough to move on. And here in Q1, you can see Yuri Vips, Lawson, Vesti, Zhou, and Sato out. Now in Q2, bit of a surprise, and the weather beforehand said there was no threat of rain in qualifying. However, we come through into Q2 and I immediately get out on track, and it's already coming down. The rain is coming down. It is also supposed to rain in the Grand Prix, so that's going to throw a bit of a curveball. We have seen some Austria chaos in the rain before, so will we see that again here now today? As you can see myself in Q2, it was all about getting a lap in as quick as possible, and we were one of the first handful of drivers to do that. We go P4, the rain would continue to fall, and it would create a shakeup that I was not expecting to see, so we would be able to cruise through into Q3. However, look at this. Albon out in Q2, as well as Mayer, Leclerc, and Norris all out as the Andretti machine. Gasly's in, and as well Yuki Tsunoda for BMW manages to get into Q3. However, that would just mean they'd basically be the slower ones here in Q3. We come through our first lap. We're making 2 laps in Q3. The first one was okay, put us P2, pretty happy with that. Gasly and the Andretti, P3. Reality would strike though. Now everybody back out except Piastri, who decided he was not going to make another lap here. Drugovich would go to the top of the board, and now he's trying to get, what, his 3rd pole in the last, I think, 4 or 5 Grand Prix in this F1 career mode, and his lap time is probably going to stand to be better than anybody else here. Now we're starting to drop down the order as everybody's starting to go a little bit quicker. We're P7 as we've got a couple corners to go, and we've gained about 2.5 to 3 tenths of a second through the final turn. What can we get? 4 tenths, 4.5 gain to the line, about half a second gain, but it's really not enough to put us very high up the board. It's only P6, as at the bottom of the grid there, in the top 10, it's Tsunoda and Gasly, and Drugovich on pole, just barely over Russell. Jackson there in 3rd, as McLaren needs a bounce back weekend after a disastrous season opener. Let's head to the grid in Austria.
Welcome from the beautiful Styrian Mountains for another chapter in the story of the Austrian Grand Prix. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Felipe Drugovich lines up on pole position, and starting next to them is George Russell. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Jackson, Hamilton, Verstappen, Golden Boy, Oscar Piastri, Doohan, Tsunoda, Gasly, Albon, Mayer, Ocon, Leclerc, Norris, Yuri Vips, Liam Lawson, Vesti, Joe, and Marino Sato. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box. Ant, it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
We are going to be opting for mediums again here today. As you can see, the rain is coming. I'm expecting the rain to fall earlier than it says, and look at this, the majority of the field opting to go on mediums again, while some decide they're going to go on softs as we get ready to kick off round 2 in Austria.
And the formation lap is underway here in Austria. The atmosphere coming from the fans here today is electric. This circuit gives drivers fantastic overtaking opportunities due to the 3 long straights. So let's hope we're in for some wheel-to-wheel action today. As the cars make their way back to the starting grid to form up and get ready for lights out, let's hope the race ahead today is a thrilling one that will go down as a memorable Grand Prix in the history books.
I know we got a lot of people here from Red Bull. Just want to say thank you guys for the support, and hopefully we can get a 1-2 for you guys today.
I echo those comments. Let's get it done.
We're ready to roll for the Austrian Grand Prix here now in Spielberg, and yeah, I mean, the goal is to win again and try to really say, hey, we're here for real and we're going to win this championship this season. I'm more determined than I've ever been. Connor Sport with a new livery this weekend. Their McLaren combination livery is on track. You're going to see that. We'll talk about more of that here in a few moments' time. It's lights out and we're racing from Austria. Now it's a good start. Hamilton tries to cover. I could force it, but I'm not going to. 3 wide into turn 1 at Austria. I don't like it. It's just such an awkward first corner. So I decided to be a little bit patient here now as we are well underway. Drugovich gets away from P1 and he's got George Russell, and now here comes Aiden Jackson along his left side in towards turn number 3. I consider it turn 2 personally. We're still side by side there. That's Oscar Piastri on my left, but we get such a good exit out of the corner that we're back out in front here now and can focus in on trying to move forward. Albon there trying to move past the BMW of Yuki Tsunoda and get as far up as he can through the grid. There you see the new Connor Sport livery. If you want a better look at it, here it is actually on your screen right now. So Fike, I forget if I'm saying his name right or wrong already now. I thought I had it down, but he from Race Department made this livery after the whole situation we had with the mod not working properly, etc., and of course with the storyline of McLaren Connor Sport coming in. So huge shout out to him. Check out his Race Department page. He makes some really cool looking mods now as I actually get ghosted by Alex Albon. Never thought I'd get to say that. But we continue on in this fight right here with Oscar Piastri now. As you can see, really, this Red Bull always just you're able to pound that gas pedal and really get a lot of grip out of some of these corners on a lot of circuits on this racetrack, but it just wasn't enough. I was still under pressure from Oscar Piastri. This wheel-to-wheel battle through the last few corners, I'm able to keep it around the outside and stay ahead and kind of keep him back right now, but DRS enabled. It's going to be a lot more difficult now to hold him back, but it's easier when Albon's working his way through the grid and putting some pressure on, because they would start to fight side by side, allowing me to get a bit of a breather now in a battle for the lead up here. And this is Jackson who had moved through into second. Drugovich locks up on the apex in turn 4, and Jackson is going to go through and try to take the lead of this Grand Prix. He had a tire failure or a tire puncture last episode in Silverstone that took him, of course, out of a good finish. He's looking for a rebound, but watch this. Next lap, turn 4, turn 1. Now he locks up. Drugovich goes through, takes the lead back, and Russell through into second. That stacks up the 2 Ferraris, and well, guess who's in prime position to pounce on this? Hello, it's Gary Owen back into the mix here. Now P6 looking for maybe a 5th, 4th, 3rd overtake here momentarily. Now the 2 Ferraris trying to go through. Jackson contact with Max Verstappen, and I say thank you very much, gentlemen. Greetings and salutations. Up into 4th place we go. Jackson, Verstappen behind. Are they going to pounce here into turn 4? No is the answer. Lewis Hamilton, can we run him down? Suddenly we have found ourselves in a very solid position here, but hold on. Here comes Aiden Jackson to fight back. I mean, mean, there was a lot of speed in this Toyota McLaren. We didn't quite get to see it in full force last episode in Silverstone with the struggles that team had with both Albon with his damage, Jackson with his struggles as well, but it's clear that that McLaren Toyota is here to fight. I'm extremely deep into turn number 3. We still managed to get a good exit there. Verstappen was able to pass Jackson with the DRS as well. We're in that zone now where it's just a back and forth DRS fight basically here, but Verstappen continues to put some pressure on us now. We've started this season attempting to be clean with Max now. Of course, we had our differences last season, but let's try and keep it clean as long as we can. Verstappen goes through into 4th place. Jackson just behind myself now as we come through to the next straightaway, lap 7, back past Verstappen. It's just like I said, a back and forth kind of DRS situation. The battle for the lead heating up. Russell had actually been able to pass Dragovic, but they're in their own back and forth situation. You see towards the end of lap 8, and now Dragovic is actually back out in front. You as well see on the MFD, I'm making a downforce adjustment. I went from 20 all the way up to 35. I was looking for a little bit more attack in the corner, and I felt like I couldn't get that. A bit too much understeer I was feeling here so far now as we continue on. And the battle up front, it was starting to heat up, and I was able to actually manage the gap to Jackson and Albon, who are now 5th and 6th. You see a bit of oversteer there on the exit of the penultimate corner. But yeah, those two starting to battle up front was allowing me to close right in on this battle, but I'm also realizing it's not probably going to rain before we have to pit on these mediums, so that is also another thing we have to pay attention to. But it doesn't seem like, again, just like Silverstone, those softs are really kicking off. Jackson's the highest running soft tire, and he's only in 5th place now, as we had now run down Hamilton, Dragovic, as well as Russell, as their battles continued. And immediately, I'm not wasting any time as we put the fight to Hamilton here. Now Lewis in a podium running position. Now, we really didn't see him have the season we had hoped, and same for Ferrari in general. Verstappen's winless last season as well. Hamilton one win in his comeback season, but the battle continues now a lap later, lap 14 already of this Grand Prix. Back up the inside, I'm going to let Hamilton have it, and we're just going to try and swamp him back. Use the DRS here on the run towards turn number 3. We swing to the right side here, but look at my mirror right there. That's Aiden Jackson's right on us, ready to pounce in the McLaren Toyota. Where's he going to go? He's going to go 3 wide up the inside, wheel to wheel here into the corner, and what is he doing? What a stupid... Oh my god, dude. What is he doing here? Not impressed with Aiden Jackson. I don't know what he was trying to accomplish there. I mean, you saw him just come in like a missile right there, and now we have significant floor and side pod damage. No wing damage. I don't know how we didn't get wing damage. Jackson did. Hamilton, I don't know. I think he does. Yeah, Hamilton, I believe, did have a little bit of wing damage, but look at that. The car's destroyed. Immediately, I could feel it in the handling. A lot more oversteer. Jackson's into the pits. I'm remaining on the racetrack with Hamilton as well. So we continue on as Hamilton was actually looking to overtake me here on the exit now of turn 1. And I was immediately struggling with the handling of this car and not confident in it. Hamilton goes through back into 3rd. So we drop down to P4 on lap number 15 going into turn 3. Are you kidding me? Old man just needs to retire, dude. I can't believe this. I need to pit. It's shades of last season. I mean, what an absolute downfall, and really no fault of our own there, and I recognized he was locking up. I just simply couldn't, back down enough and turn out of it at the same time to avoid him. And now we have to immediately hit the pit box, and we still have the floor damage and the side pod damage that cannot be repaired, so we're just limping it back around. And actually, as that's happening, the soft tire drivers are starting to pit as well. So Lando Norris, who's been working his way from further down the field, has run me down. We are going to box, and he's going to be ahead of us because obviously we also now need to do a total front wing change. But oh my goodness, things have quite drastically changed from the shades of Silverstone, to say the least. So we will rejoin the race, but we have got some work to do. There's the Connor Sport right there. That's Calimera coming out just in front of us, but I could feel the struggles immediately. Now we're on the soft tire because I'm confident, and based off the information I was being fed by Mark, rain is going to start within about 10 minutes, so the softs, they will make it 10 minutes. So I decided to put those on because it's going to rain enough to where we're going to have to throw on the intermediate compound tire and whatnot. So just trying to work our way through, but I was feeling, the struggles of this car, and you can see me right here. I mean, this double left-hander was probably the worst part for this car. Turn 1, a bit of a struggle, and you can just see me really having to counter steer the car with the side pod and floor damage. Basically going to have to do that for the rest of this race. Mark's telling telling me Rain is a few laps out still, so it's close. So we're just trying to hang on to that point here, and everybody now just about has made their pit stop except for like my teammate of Drugovic, who has not pitted yet as well. Now as we go down towards the penultimate corner, this is going to get awkward. Tsunoda, oh my goodness, Callie Mayer crashes out heavy in this race. We don't need a replay. We saw it all right there in front of us. Safety car deployed. Oh my goodness, Tsunoda and the BMWs have been absolute just goblins so far this season in the first 2 Grand Prix, and wow, my goodness. That is going to create an interesting one because Rain is still on the way, but nobody's going to pit. But Rain is just a few moments out, and there's an Andretti car actually in front of the field that's a lap down. That's Pierre Gasly, who's had a terrible Grand Prix so far from the looks of it. Tsunoda caused that incident by missing the pit line. Will that lead to a similar situation that his teammate of Esteban Ocon had going into this Grand Prix, which of course was, he was delivered penalty points at the beginning of this week due to him having his contact with Tsunoda and then coming across the racetrack, causing major damage to Liam Lawson in the Andretti machine, and of course then getting stuck in the grass and his race coming to an end, and he was delivered 3 penalty points to his license, as you heard at the beginning of the episode now. But we're back racing, and there's blue flags out ahead, and that is for the Andretti machine of Pierre Gasly there right in front of us, and we thought Gasly was going to have more speed, but obviously speed doesn't matter when you're just having a bad race. Rain is falling here in Austria now. Out front, Drugovic had lost the lead due to the safety car timing and when he had to pit basically just after the safety car came out. So right now, George Russell's up there, but as well, Lando Norris is up there in the mix as well. I'm trying to put the pressure on Piastri, really struggling though with confidence in this car, but this is one of those corners where I can still have that confidence and get after it a bit. So we get out in front of Piastri, but that's only for P8. Nothing special here compared to what the expectation is on the exit of turn 1, slipping and sliding like crazy. And that's Albon, not Piastri, to attack now. Albon's gotten past the Trackhouse machine, and now Jack Doohan, the lone Connor Sport machine, is putting some pressure on Piastri there as we're all over the back of Albon, who's just as well not having this race go his way, and in McLaren Toyota not having it go their way, because think about as well Jackson with his issues with the wing damage. You can see the puddling on the track. It's time for the Inters. We go too deep into turn 4. A switchback from Albon this season so far has had absolutely fantastic racing. We can't deny that, but I immediately come into the pits at the end of this lap, and I'm actually the lone driver, and I'm scrambling to put on the intermediate compound tire, but I get it just in time. So we're in for the Inters. We're going to be the only one in on this lap. So this is going to give us an opportunity to gain some time, and actually a warning for exceeding track limits right at the end of this next lap here, but everybody's getting ready to make their pit stops now, but the majority of the field hasn't. We're going to pass a small group of cars right here, including Jack Doohan, the Lotus rookie of Yuri Vips. Lotus so far not a hot start to their new start in Formula 1, but everybody's coming in now towards the end of this next lap. There is Drugovic. I say that, but Russell's still on track, Albon's still on track, and so is Oscar Piastri, so they are really going to lose some time. And here I am exiting turn 1, now less than 10 laps to go, and we're right on the back of Leclerc and Jackson, but yeah, still just not enough. I mean, P8 is what we're making the pass for, and we should be able to get hopefully past Russell, as well as Albon, who stayed out long, as well as Oscar Piastri. We continue wheel to wheel with Charles Leclerc in the Trackhouse machine, but I just continue to struggle here for grip now. You got a mix of the floor damage and the side pod damage. Now you mix it with the rain, of course, where oversteer is just going to be common. It makes it a very difficult last stint here in the Austrian Grand Prix. Things have not gone our way today. The 3 drivers that had stayed out now come into the pits, and we'll pass all 3 of them, but Russell is right there behind us, so he is still in position for a good finish. It's Drugovic out front over Lando Norris now into second, and following them is Verstappen, who's moved up into third, Jackson fourth, Leclerc fifth, myself in P6 as we approach lap 30. Now that things have kind of worked itself out and calmed down, we're going to go through the grid here with 7 laps to go in the Austrian Grand Prix.
Drugovic out front of everyone with 7 laps remaining. The young Brazilian seeking his second career win as he aims to back up his teammates' win last week with his own today.
Norris right there ready to pounce, however. I get the feeling that Mercedes wants to fire back on Red Bull's turf after Owen spoiled the party for their home drivers last week in Silverstone.
Jackson with a solid rebound day, as Alex Albon is having another bad day, down in 12th currently. Is this a cause for concern?
Yes, but no. We see today the car is strong still. However, we know 2 bad races is all it can take to lose the title come the end of the season, but it will depend on the consistency of others around him. Example with Owen getting caught up in chaos today. This bad race won't quite hurt Alex as much.
Yuri Vips, currently in the points as a rookie. Joe as well having a solid run. The chaos and weather has allowed for a midfield refresh today.
BMW has loved being in the news recently, and I think Tsunoda might be in a bit of trouble after his incident earlier with Mayer. Ocon, however, having a 13th place run right now, fresh off of earning 3 penalty points to his licence.
And you see Lawson there lose a spot to Piastri with 6 laps to go in Austria.
What a Grand Prix so far. Marino Sato, Pierre Gasly round out the grid right now as I continue to struggle in these closing laps, and now under attack. Here comes George Russell up the inside. Really not much for him. I just no confidence in the car with the way its shape currently is. So it's just about bringing it home at this point now for P7. Hamilton's not going to run us down, and neither is Albon, as they're 7 and 8 seconds behind, respectively. So yeah, it's just about bringing it home at this point. Not the Grand Prix we were looking for. Yellow flags here at the end of Sector 2, or towards the end of Sector 2, and that's one of the Andretti cars. Is that Gasly or is that Liam Lawson, as I'm still slipping and sliding around? No safety car, of course, could be called for that, and it's Pierre Gasly. His bad day just gets worse. He ends his day right towards the end of the Grand Prix, but doesn't quite see the end here. Now, final lap in Austria, and we're not going to go back-to-back wins, but it looks like Red Bull Racing will get the home win, at least with Felipe Drugovich, who's really turning into his own driver. He won his first career race in Brazil a few episodes ago in the season finale of Season 5, and now here he is, set to bring it home for win number 2. That will be 2 wins in the last 3 Grand Prix for Drugovich, and 3 wins in the last 3 races for Red Bull Racing. We are on a roll, 2 for 2 in Season 6. Drugovich picks up the win, Norris second, and finally Verstappen and Ferrari back on the podium. We're going to bring it home for a disappointing P7. But honestly, for the shape this car was in, for the chaos we, were presented towards specifically ourselves, I'm quite happy with 7th place here, and I felt like that was a damage limitation kind of day, so I really can't complain. Driver of the day, it's going to go to Lando Norris, rightfully so. Let's head to the podium for the celebration.
It was a magnificent race and a drive right out of the top draw to take the win for Red Bull today. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, they clearly have a car that comes alive in the kind of conditions we were dealing with today. It's a very balanced package in the wet, and what that means is that the drivers have confidence to attack, and having that confidence gets you on the power earlier, it lets you brake later, and can put you a long way up the road.
It was not, an easy Grand Prix by any means, and, it's, like I said to begin the episode, but Austria, it's just a difficult race for me usually, but obviously it feels like for some reason we always just get caught up in chaos more so here than other tracks. Now, Austria is a more incident and chaos-prone track compared to other tracks in F123, so not necessarily surprising that we were caught up in it here today, but what an episode. And at the end of the day, although we couldn't win, it's great that our teammate Drugovich could win, and it really seems like he is turning into a potential driver we have to pay attention to going forward, which was not the case really last season. Although he beat me in points, there was a lot of reasons he was able to beat me that were just on misfortune for myself, but this season he's turning it up, and of course going into the tail end of last season with the win in his home Grand Prix there in Brazil. Here's the standings. We're 3 points ahead of Lando Norris and Russell, and then Drugovich just behind there. McLaren Toyota still seeking points, only 16 points there, as we're 2 points ahead of Mercedes going into round number 3, where I will see you guys for the Dutch Grand Prix home race for Verstappen. I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.